I'm Todd Tuckey, and this is this is John, but we call him Fanboy John.
Hello, everyone.
So he kind of started watching our videos. I hooked him and his wife, but his wife couldn't attend. She had to work.
Yeah.
She had to go to work.
Yeah.
And Frank Lindenmuth, you know him from his battery boards and his Tommy boards and his Frankenstein boards. And he sold a lot of them, brought a lot of Frankensteins back to life because nobody does that board. And the twins, the TNT twins, which now have their own channel. And it's a good channel, isn't it? They do. And we have a lot of our fans. My Pinball sisters are up here. We went to the Pinball. What was the show in Allentown? I can't find. I get the shoes. Pinfest. We went to Pinfest, and then afterwards we took them out to dinner and we stuffed them.
That's
We
your
like to
packed
eat.
audience.
We do a lot of eating.
Yeah.
We do a lot of eating. I'm going to move this a little closer because I'm already losing my voice. There we go. Cleaned it up and we're good to go. Jillian, are we ready? Okay. Can you? Oh, do you need to? Okay. You go ahead.
So, Todd said, can you bring in an audience full of naive buyers who don't know much about buying pinball? So if you think you qualify for that, then you came to the right place. Here they are, Todd. Tell them about how to buy right when they're buying fruit, right? You don't buy the lemons?
You
That's what
don't
it
buy
was?
the lemons.
Okay.
And I was going to have Jillian put the first slide up, which is just a slide. Jillian, just so you know, everything else is a video. And there's a 5-second gap in between each. Okay. Okay, good. We are ready, and the boys' microphones are on too, right? Good. Good. Because everybody's going to get a chance to be insulted. So we'll have some fun.
Especially you.
Especially me. Well, how many in the room do not own a pinball machine yet? Oh, good. We do have a
Put your
good.
hand down back there.
That's a good number. Jack, you don't qualify.
Doesn't own a pinball machine.
And Mike has more
Hundreds of
pinballs than anybody. Automated Mike is here. Mike Dodona. He's in the center. And Jack and Ari right next to him. And we had a great time last night. They treated us to dinner. We had a great dinner, didn't we? The twins set up Automated's booth today. And as of now, they've been 49 hours without sleep. Now, this miserable John only had 36 hours without sleep. So the creep went and dozed. Yeah, he did. It's a lot to set up a show. You know, a show like this takes a lot of preparation. And you'll notice, everybody notices, that the industry is changing rapidly. Rapidly. I think it all started with the Banning California auction. I think that's when the prices started to go completely insane. But we thought this might be an important seminar. This was planned before banning, to introduce people that have no idea what they're buying into what to look for. Frank and I have seen a lot of ghastly things come through in 42 years of dealing with this. Frank's been with me about 25, on and off about 25.
A long time.
Too many years. But we've seen a lot of stuff come and go, and we've seen a lot of rigging on pinball machines to get them out the door. Now, it's one thing if you're buying a pinball machine for $100.
Are you counting the rigging that you were doing to get them?
Rigging, well, we all rigged. I mean, we used to sell the Black Knight for $550. And that was back in when I started selling them out of my driveway. And Future Spa was $450. Evel Knievel was $300. I mean, I sold all these games. We did not put $600 worth of work into the Evel Knievel. We wiped it down. We changed any rubbers that were black or dirty, and we put bulbs in. Now, back then, we still came across games that were rusty and problems like that, and then we blew them out at auctions. Back then, they had auctions where you could get games for next to nothing. Boy, oh boy, the good old days that will never, ever come back. Because now, this industry has changed dramatic turns. It's become a hobby for wealthier people. I think that's the best way I can say it. You just can't buy a special game unless somebody comes along and wants to give it to you or donate it to you. I just got an email today from somebody who bought games for me 20 years ago, a Berserk, a Defender, an Asteroids, and a Phoenix. And he says, they're done with them. He says, come and get them, you can have them. He said, but I'm sorry to say only the Phoenix works. The other 3 games are dead. And he just said, come and I can get them. I got the email this morning. So I emailed him back and I said, I'll give him $1,000 credit to have a party at TNT Amusements. Parties are what's going to help you guys if you open up any kind of a store or an arcade. That will help all of you help your hobby and help the growth of pinball. That's like a whole nother seminar, I think. So we're going to keep to the topic. How do you buy a coin-operated arcade video game or pinball machine? So we're going to do video games too. We decided we'd do both. Frank and I worked with this and we thought it was good. Right now, when I got into business in 1979, games were 99.5% in stores making money. When they made Evel Knievel back in 77, it was designed for 5 years of use and then to be discarded or parted out. That's it, 5 years. Miss Pac-Man, 5 years of use. Everything was 5 years. That was the time period where the manufacturers would support the game. Then they were done. They wiped their hands of it. Try to get your Fast and Furious fixed. You can't get a lot of the games that we think are new fixed now because they're past the 5-year mark. But now, those very same games are holding up great. A lot of you that own games know they run really well unless they're dropped into the swimming pool for a day. They hold up great over the years, and especially if you rebuild them correctly. But what about the people that are driving by this show and they see the sign that says Pinball, Pintastic, and they stop in their first time coming to a pinball show, and they see acres of room? Yeah, we have some people. First-timers? The first-timers. They don't own any games, but maybe this is your first pinball show. Suddenly you decide, hey, you can buy these things? A lot of people don't realize that. And once you play and have some fun, you say, we'd like to get one for our house.
Well, that's the whole point of doing this was to
Just pick the microphone up. It's easier. Slide that baby out. Yeah.
we need to keep new blood into the hobby. I see a lot of familiar faces, which is great, but we need new people. That's the only thing that's going to keep it alive. Kids, youngsters, new families, like you said, doesn't know that you can buy a game and have it in your house. And, you can go out and buy a game that looks great and you get it in your house and it's a piece of shit. Take, for example, I had a guy who had an Addams Family. Do you remember that? That was about 9 years ago. Guy called us, didn't buy it from us, bought an Addams Family, said the flipper didn't work, the thing flip didn't work. So I go out and look at it, and it looks great. Nice and clean, shiny LEDs, new rubbers, yeah. Lift up the playfield, it was dirty as all hell. They didn't even rebuild any of the flippers, that's why it broke. So they polished it, and they sold it, but didn't fix anything. So the guy couldn't play the game. He didn't want to tell me what he paid for it, that's for sure. He didn't tell me where he got it, but we want people to avoid that. Because you wouldn't believe the things people buy and bring to us and expect us to fix, where the only way we can fix it is they have to buy a whole other game, which has happened, which you'll hear about the Flash Gordon story.
Well, a lot of times people call me and they want us to come out and fix a game, and I don't know how many of you have service games, but how many of you have heard the famous line, "I think it's just a fuse"? Yes. I said, well, then change it. Are you blind? Or, I come up with some corny stuff, but you find out that it's more than just a fuse. Mechanisms are missing, wires are cut. Rust is a big factor, as you'll see today. Thing is what makes this hobby really neat is now you can buy brand new, and the pinball manufacturers that are left, 99 and maybe and a half% of everything pinball manufacturers make, Jersey Jack, Stern, American, are going right to the home. They're not going into vending places. And sometimes vending places mean they're $1, to play or 50 cents to play. A lot of the arcades that are opening now are flat rate arcades. And the person can stand in front and play any of the pinballs or video games as long as they want, as long as they pay the flat rate price. So they're not dependent on money going in. And that may get more use than usual, but it's restricted to how many hours you play. In your house, what are you going to really play your pinball machine? First month is the heavy wear. So that's when everybody plays the hell out of them. And that's when brand new rubbers will break. When we sell a game, we give them extra rubbers, we give them fuses, and we give them light bulbs. Even if we put LEDs in them, we give them light bulbs so they can get the thing up and running right away. Because we'll never give them the right color LED anyway. So we say we'll put a light bulb in for now. That usually is sufficient. We used to give them a solder pencil. And when the solder pencils hit $7 each, I decided not to anymore. Plus, we got a lot of games traded in, and solder pencil was never even taken out of the box. So we decided, and Frank, actually, you pointed out that people might burn their fingers.
Yeah.
You know, so.
And most people don't.
The solder iron's hot.
Getting them
You know.
soldered.
So you have to get in to service your game. So why not look at it now before you buy it? And once again, if you decide to buy a used game, you have a lot of options, a dealer, a business that refurbishes game, or from a private seller who is liable not to give you any warranty. So if you go to a house to look at a game, make sure you've lifted the playfield and you bring a light, because they're usually in a dark basement or dungeon and you can't see anything. A lot of you know what I mean about the dark basements. Ugh, people come down here. Ugh.
Cellar?
The cellar, the root cellar. If you buy it from a dealer, you can buy it reconditioned or as is. A lot of you watch our videos. We sell games as is. We do all the electronics, but you do the playfield. You rebuild the flippers. I'll take $1,000. I'll take $1,500 off the price, and we'll dump it. And then you take care of it. You fool with it. But at least you know the electronics are 100%. We've been doing that a lot, except for mechanicals. We decided not to deal with the pre-77 games. Now that's a big decision. A mechanical game made before 77 can be fixed in almost every instance without any parts. All you need are fingers. You should have 10. And you may need a soldering iron. And the biggest thing you need is a flat screwdriver and blue emery paper. Because, baby, you're going to have to tighten all the little screws on the switch stacks, and you're going to have to bend the emery paper in half and clean the 1,500 little switches if you want the thing to at least start up and be dependable. And it's true, a mechanical pinball should be played at least once or twice a week to keep everything running, because you got this old motor spinning in there. By the way, if you have a mechanical, there's only one place in the United States that will fix the motor. Steve Young at Pinball Resource loves rebuilding motors. He loves bringing them back to life. He's the only one left in the world. Nobody wants to touch motors. They want to sell you a new one, but can you get one? You know, for the 1949 Gottlieb crisscross, will you be able to get one? I don't think so. So he's a good person to keep in mind. You have to be hands-on your pinball machine. You have to be able to do the small tasks like cleaning, bulb changing, rubbers. And if you're comfortable working on machines, you can find deals on the fixer-uppers. That's what we're going to discuss today, the fixer-uppers. Try before you buy. If you're buying your first game, you should not buy it sight unseen. Digital pictures lie. They really do.
Plus,
How
there's a
many
lot
of you have looked at
scammers? It opens up the door for scammers.
Yeah.
People that, will take a PayPal or something and never hear from them again. Buying a pinball machine is like buying a car. Like Todd said, you can buy it new or used, private, dealer. Some dealers are going to do some work to them, some aren't. Private sellers probably not going to do anything unless you got a guy that does it, restores them and sells them. But everybody's idea of restoration, gone through, repaired, restored is different. So like I said, they might clean it up, put some rubbers and bulbs in it, and then that's it. It's going to be the shiniest broken game in your collection because they didn't fix any of the things that really need to be tended to, rebuilding the flippers, checking to make sure that the mechanisms work, servicing the electronics, on and on.
Now, John here in the end, him and his wife started buying pinball machines. They fell in love with pinball just like you did, and they decided, what was your first game, John?
It was Fire by Williams.
Fire, 1989.
'87.
88?
'87.
Yeah, you know what? That was right after Tomcat, so it must have been 87.
Yeah, we went to, there was a local show in Ohio that was once a year, and we went for 2, maybe 3 years before we bought our first game, and it was a nervous and scary experience because I didn't know anything about them. But 8 years later, I'm still learning, and we're hooked. We
Yeah.
absolutely love it. We've made so many great friends along the way, and
And you've learned how to rebuild flippers, haven't you?
yes, I have.
Yes. Yeah, that you got to learn how to do that, baby. Yeah. Now, Tim and Tom, for instance, they were buying. Your first game was from me, right? The Sorcerer.
Yeah, well, yeah.
First pinball. First pinball.
Pinball, yeah.
Well,
yeah,
they made a change. They started with video games,
Yeah.
and they loved them. They were the greatest things in the world.
I used to say pinballs are pieces of crap. Why are you bringing that in here, Toddy? And then
Bring the mic close to you, baby.
We used to all the time would say, "Oh, that piece of crap." But then, the rarest of the rare games were around us that we didn't even care about. I was just whatever arcade games, whatever boards were in there, and then slowly but surely we started playing the pinballs, and then I give a let's batoot about arcade games. I hate them. I don't really care. I don't hate them.
And what happened to them is what happened to all you. You all got bitten by the bug. There's something funky about a pinball machine. I can't play. I never could play. I'm fascinated with the mechanics and the beauty of the whole machine. That somebody sat down and designed this whole thing, and they got all these other skilled people to do the music score, the game rules, pinball. Every single pinball machine you go to has a story. It has its own play. It's unique. There's not one single pinball machine made that doesn't have something wonderful about it, except Bally's Motor Dome. Oh, God, is that a turd? Woo, what a horrible game. However, Bally's Motor Dome did one thing that not one other game did until, let's see, 86, Frankenstein, Sega's Frankenstein. Does anybody know what Bally's Motor Dome did that no other game did?
Was it that stupid keypad?
No, that was a stupid keypad. By the way, Xpin makes the keypad now. So you can buy a keypad because there's stupid little buttons. It's like your door that opens your garage door, the buttons go bad. Motor Dome was the first game, and they waited 10 years before they did it again, to have a skill level selectable. When you started the game, and the rule card was right there, level 1 had simple rules. Level 2, the rules changed. And level 3, they changed again. Level 3 was like impossible. The game was so awful anyway. But you play level 3, you're not going to play for long. You're dead. So selectable. And I think Frankenstein was the first game that you could select your novice, or they only had 2 skill levels. But they waited 10 years. It was a great idea, but apparently nobody understood it. They started the game and they didn't see select level. It was actually blinking at you, and nobody did. Nobody selected the level.
We have one in the room.
And of course, everybody knows I did a green screen with Tina Turner. I call it the motor, instead of Thunderdome, Motor Dome. So I couldn't resist. But what killed it, we sold 5 one Christmas. We had 5 of them to get ready. And that horrible system, the 6803 system, turned on the flash lamps and locked them on, and all the jewels would melt. And we had to come up with all kinds of ways to fix it. We were only selling them for $13.99 or something back then, but it was we had 5 of them to get ready for Christmas, and I stayed up very late to make sure we didn't ruin any Christmases. There's nothing like getting a phone call on Christmas Day on our phone machine. You've ruined our Christmas. No. Ooh. But it does happen. It does happen. So we are going to, we've covered some material, some ways, but we're going to try, what we're going to cover is to look at things before you buy. I have to look at my cheat notes here. Look at the back of the machine. Before you even open it, Walk around the back of it and look and see if there's chunks of wood missing or anything that you see that may be out of the ordinary. Look under the cabinet to see if, in fact, some creep at the last location it was in chopped a hole out to get to the money. Look inside the coin door. Look for signs of rust, water damage, sloppily installed mods, and famously, rodent infestation. Have you all encountered a game with mice in it? There we go. Steve has a huge collection. He lives in New Jersey, and he comes over to TNT and annoys us all the time. I mean, he comes over and entertains us a lot. And you've come up with it, especially if the game was in a barn. So, that's something that happens. And, of course, the number one problem with pinball machines, especially now, is that old famous battery that leaks all over the place. The battery corrosion has destroyed so many boards, unrepairable. And sometimes you fix them and they work good for 6 months and then they fail again. Fortunately, there's alternatives now, not many. There's a man that's selling System 3 boards in the other room, but the System 3 used a lithium battery, so it's usually not a battery problem with them. It's just that no one wants to fix them. But the System 9 through 11s, try to buy a board. The Rotten Dog boards, half of them work and half of them don't. I found one Rotten Dog works fine in Tic Tac Strike Shuffle Alley, but it won't work in Alley Cats. It's a friggin' year apart. The boards are very, very fussy. That's the best word I can say. However, I did find out from Joe, who's moving into TNT, he's a serviceman, he's been around for years. He said the processors were different on Williams. Certain years, Williams used a processor, and some worked better than others. The Motorola processor runs better than maybe the Siemens. So he said, before you give up on the Rotten Dog, switch the processors and see if it'll work on that particular game. I think they want to see a video. Frank, do you want to tell them a little about the KISS before we run the video? This was precious. A guy called me on the phone and he said, I have a KISS pinball machine and a Pac-Man, and I was going to restore them, and I took all the parts off of it, and then I lost interest. And then he took all the parts off the top, and I lost interest. Anyway.
We realized how much work it was going to be.
Yes, he did. And what he did is he put the KISS in a shed. Of course, it's unheated and air conditioned. One of those sheds you put your lawnmower in, and then everything inside is wet and musty. So, as a result, we had this lovely thing happen. Can you kick on this video? Right.
I told Johnny to call you with pictures before you bought it.
But
It's only 4,500, so don't worry.
he was going to restore it.
It'll buff out.
Look, look at these beautiful little baggies. Look, he even saved the rubbers. Look, he's got that. Look, he put that in place. I'm gonna put things in bags as I fix it.
You put the whole game in a bag.
God, what's this?
Mouse shit. Don't touch it.
But Frankie told me it was nice. He said he wanted it restored.
Surprisingly, it's not the worst we've seen.
Frank, look, this doesn't move.
Put a little WD-40 on it.
Doesn't move. Will these move? Wonder if it. Wonder if it'll.
I'm surprised it's got displays on it.
Look, the displays don't look too bad.
It should have buff out.
Yeah, they'll clean up in a flash. Oh, oh, Frank, my transformer. Should we try
I
powering
think you
it
should
up?
put this glass on Steve's bench and tell him to paint it, and have a camera set up to see him screaming when he.
Now you see, no, you're not that stupid. You're not going to go someplace
Well, wait a minute.
and see this
Wait,
and buy it.
Wait, that's happened. Yeah, ask about the Flash Gordon story.
Well, here's the problem. We bought this so we could show it to you as part of the seminar. Frank, should we tell him about the
The Flash
Frank,
Gordon story.
Frank, how about, wait a minute.
The only
Wait a
difference
minute.
between this and the Flash Gordon is the Flash Gordon wasn't taken
I'll
apart.
tell you what, Frank, I'm going to let you start. But you're out in the show now, so you want to tell yourself to start?
No, I'm not doing that nonsense. I'll start. I can follow.
He's going to start.
So he found this Flash Gordon on eBay, rented a U-Haul truck at about 89 cents a mile, 3 hours to get this game, brought it back, and it basically looked like that Kiss. You couldn't do anything with it. It was completely rusted. It sat in a barn for at least 20 years. So after he left, we actually looked up the listing on eBay, and you could see the coin door open and the rat's nest inside the coin door. But he bought it. It cost him $5,000 for a $2,500 game at the time, because he had to buy a whole other game for us to put together.
Well,
I think,
plus the restoration, right?
yeah, well, but I mean, it was the whole point is that you would think somebody wouldn't buy that, but they did. And it's sad we got to say, don't buy something like that, regardless of what it is. You know, it's all chewed up and rusted. Just pass on it. It's just not worth it.
Well, we call the rodents dead engineers. Say, that's what John Sheen, who used to work for me, Cretan, retired at 83. I was very upset. And Wallace left me. He was 83 too. Can you imagine? We have mandatory retirement at 100. That's when my pension kicks in. So I keep the money since they retired early. But anyway, clip 2 is the Flash Gordon. That was probably 3 years ago, Frank?
It's been a while.
Maybe
I don't
4. Somebody bought this on eBay, and they paid $800 for it. $800. I want you to look at this rust and the plastics. And although they vacuumed it out, you can see the aftermath. A huge mouse nest was right here, the biggest one on record, right there. Isn't that something? The rainwater and or piss, whatever it was, looks like it's gotten in here and damaged this. Well, I don't know. It's pretty sad, Frank. We just told him we're really sorry. And then, Frank, what did happen?
He bought another game.
Yes.
He had to buy a whole other machine for us to restore it.
Get to the mic.
He had to buy a whole other game.
Well, he did, but he found it local. It was actually local. And the guy had already thrown the cabinet away. So we, in fact, bought the playfield and the electronics.
The other cabinet was worse or something, I think, so we had to piece it together, but
And what did he pay for that? Do you remember?
no.
I think it was $800 or $900.
Like I said, I think the whole thing ended up costing him over $5,000. With
Yeah.
the restoration, buying the 2 games all the time.
Well, we had to buy playfield overlays. We had to buy.
Oh,
Now
God.
he can be. Well, this will give Johnny his own mic and the twins their own mic. See, they'll each have it. Now this is before John. The Flash Gordon and the Kiss were before John. Now I would venture to guess that the average person wouldn't purchase something like this, but he really loved Flash Gordon. I mean, Flash Gordon's a great game, but not like that. Now, the interesting thing is the end, we have a later clip. This happened again with a Data East Star Trek that you'll see soon. But we're going to finish here. We want to go back to the Kiss. We're going to show you the underside of this beautiful Kiss. These will be things you can look for, even if the top of the playfield's good. Could you do the next clip, 3?
You're Flash Gordon.
That guy flashed that money out of his wallet fast.
Well, I mean, let's face it. That's what happens to Flash Gordon sometimes. Let's see what's in here.
The rest of the parts.
Oh, look.
Oh, wait, there's a lock. There's a new lock. Grab it.
Wait a minute.
I'm not touching anything.
Let me put this up here. Let's see. We got the bow tie.
Some other
Oh,
shots
look.
after punching this
Look.
thing.
It's home to someone.
Kept them cozy and dry for a while.
Oh, it is a new lock, Frank.
See that?
There's a key.
2 keys.
Gosh, and wait a minute. What did he pay for? $5.99. I'm gonna fix this. That's what the guy said. Gonna fix it, Frank.
Look, he did put these in a bag. Oh, God, Frank.
There's the
The
manual.
original.
No.
Oh, no, that was...
Yeah, he's not without any gloves. Go get some kitchen gloves or something.
Wait a minute, what are
Yes,
these?
yeah.
Are these more parts? Anyway, it's a project, folks.
Well, at least all the parts are here.
Yes. It's
So
a
of course, I
project.
guarantee you, he will have this thing in the shop getting overhauled first.
Wait a minute,
He
look.
will sell this game. We've
We've
sold
got-
worse.
Got a couple cobwebs. I wonder if these are moving. Look, the drop target bank goes up. I plug it in?
Top bumpers work?
I don't see why not. He's gonna plug it in.
Wow.
It
We got
works!
a logic board too. It's a miracle.
Stop switch.
Step back. Have you
How long did it
seen
take you to
enough?
plan that out?
Do you see what you're missing? See, you should be at TNT now, not sitting in this room that's empty. Nobody came to our seminar, Frank.
You were going to be here.
Well, I guess we should get back to the live part. And you have to be very careful, and you go around. We use lead-free solder. You don't have to.
You just got
because
your
you're not
last
doing
free
it.
dinner out of Jack. He's pissed.
Jack! Well, I said a couple pins, Jack, not the whole machine. Well, we actually opened up some Data East games, and we found like whole rows, unsoldered parts, like the whole corner of the board was unsoldered. The game worked for years, and they made enough of a connection. And we just got another 10 rolls of lead-free solder. We go through so much of it because the guys are breathing in the fumes. It takes 2 hours to reheat a board, all the boards. Stephen, you've reheated boards, right? No. Gottlieb's don't have much. I love Gottlieb's for that reason. There's not a lot of header pins in Gottlieb's. And we find the System 3s are the most, reliable and don't have cold solder connections. But, yes,
Edge connectors.
edge connectors, yeah. Yeah, there's not many places that have the old edge connectors anymore. Dosen Electronics is starting to make them again, if any of you are looking for Gottlieb System 1 stuff. I just ordered a pile of stuff, and they're starting to make them again. He's not feeling well. He's not doing well. But he promised to get my order out. I forgot some KISS footage. I just forgot about it. The cabinet. We didn't discuss the cabinet. Can you run the next clip, please? Well, I realized we didn't show the back. I was wondering. I was wondering when you were going to say to do the back. Look, here's the back of the KISS. Do you see? Once again, you got planking. You got all this stuff coming loose. We only have one bolt in it, but the bottom here is pretty solid. But this is a project, Frank. You got to calculate all that in the offer you're making if you really want to deal with a thing like this.
No, this is something
For somebody who wants to spend a lot of time,
Yeah, I mean, some people might want to do that, but you got to have the resources.
you do. This is what happens. There you go. I showed you the back. I showed myself the back, yes. Thank you. One thing you should know, if you go and buy a game from Joe Blow in his basement, when you get it home, there's a good chance it won't work right or work at all. So expect you have to do something. It has something to do with the move. Our reconditioned games happen all the time. The twins have delivered games, and once they got them set up, they found out one hole wasn't working or something. And they had to make adjustments on the spot. And John, you've had that happen where you bought a game.
Yeah, there's a lot of basic things. Even though you try to break it down to transport it to your home the best you can, you always want to go over and check all the connections on all the boards because they can work themselves loose or off.
From the move.
Remove the balls before you transport it
Yes.
so they don't bounce around.
And break targets off,
Exactly.
especially if they're old targets.
And no one told me that in my first game. It was after a couple and just meeting and talking to people like
Did you
yourselves.
break targets?
Yeah, I think I did.
They're
Definitely
plastics.
plastics.
Plastics are notorious. That's why you got to buy the round spacers, the protectors for your slingshots especially. Now Stern puts those ugly metal washers on them. We take them off and we use them someplace else in the shop, and we put the clear washers on so you can see through them. But Stern had the right idea with that. And Jack, your games have the washers too, right? I'm trying to bring you into the conversation. Anyway,
Well, let me, before we're talking about connectors, so what's your fun house, like your third game or something?
Funhouse was my second game.
So he gets a fun house. I was out at his house a few months ago, and we did a video with his wife for putting a battery board in. But so you get the fun house, and it wasn't working right. Half the lights were off, and it was in a foreign language.
Yeah, when I purchased my Funhouse, it was only about 50% working because at the time I couldn't afford a nicer one that worked. And for the first 6 months, I played the game with the glass off. Every time I'd shoot the ball, it would always get stuck in Rudy's hideaway, and I'd have to take I always kept a ballpoint pen by the game. I would be able to just reach down in there with the pen, knock the ball out, and keep playing. And, you know, it was a learning process early on. And then one day, the display, all of a sudden, it had a bunch of gibberish in a foreign language. I'm like, oh, no. Now I can't play the game at all.
a lot of you encountered the foreign language stuff.
So I went to my friend Google, and it said, you might have a loose ribbon cable somewhere. Or the ribbon cables also deteriorate and go bad over time, but they're easily replaceable. So one at a time, I disconnected all the ribbon cables, moved them back and forth a couple times, trying to clean the connection. And after that, I turned the game back on, and voila, the game worked 100%. Instead of 50% of my lights working, all of them worked, and everything worked on the game. I was just amazed that on a fluke, I fixed my game. And I've learned a lot since then.
Marco's Specialties sells all those ribbon cables brand new. If you have a WPC game, you have to buy a new ribbon cable between the logic and the driver board. Now, you could get by reversing it. You flip it around. But you need to put a new one in. Treat your game. It's $6. I mean, buy a new one. We had at Christmas time, we were so busy, we were selling between 150 and 200 games a month of December. We had outside trucks, drivers that would come in. We packed the truck, and the two guys would take off at 7 in the morning, come back at 7 at night with the empty truck. We had 2 or 3 trucks on our busiest times. And I never forget, I got a phone call from one of our customers. He just dropped off a Miss Pac-Man. He plugged it in, the screen was scrambled. And the guy actually said to the customer, "Don't worry, it just has to warm up." And he left, and that was it. So I called the guy on the truck. I said, "You go back there and take the back door off and push the boards in. Don't walk away and drive down the street. It's an hour drive." So they went back, and of course it was a loose plug or a loose connection, just like John found. You have to try to solve the problem without sending a guy out for service. But since then, the phrase has stayed with us. You know, listening to him say, it just has to warm up. No, it doesn't have to warm up. It comes on and it works. However, that's a good point, though. If you're moving games in frigid air, the electronics games will run fine in 30-degree weather. But if you bring it inside a warm house and continue to play it, you're going to have trouble. So get a hairdryer, put it on high, and heat up all the boards. If you have a video game, heat up the monitor in the boards so you don't have a service call. I was talking to you about Star Trek, the 25th anniversary. It's a wonderful, wonderful game. A man called me, and he wanted to bring a game in for an overhaul. And I made the mistake of not asking for pictures, detailed pictures, before he drove it from Minnesota. And he showed up with an atrocious, horrible machine. It was absolutely atrocious. Now, apparently the guy that sold it to him
fixed it up by putting in a brand new and Pinball Pro speaker at the bottom. Yes, I'm gonna put that speaker in it, and it'll be as good as new. And then he painted the transformer to cover the rust. Can you run that clip, please?
Well, Frank,
What the hell are you talking to?
I was talking to us.
That's so weird. That's
Yeah, but it's part of it. We're
But it's
here.
weird. That's why there's only 5
We're
people
live.
here.
We got all. No,
Other
there's
than
a,
the fact checker, that's why there's only 5 people here.
there's a whole bunch of people out there.
Yeah. Believe me, they're dreaming about dinners. They're not thinking about this stuff.
It is dinner time. It's 6 o'clock.
That's why there's only 5 people.
It's actually
here. All right, maybe
6:20
7.
now. But listen, we just got this Star Trek in, 25th, and
Damn shame what they did to this game.
well, no. What happened is, we have to fix this, and I promised the guy
That sounds like
we would repaint
gotta
it.
fix it.
So I was going to show it to Stephen here. Now, Stephen, do you think you can?
You gotta be f***ing kidding me.
Yeah.
You can't say in the video.
Oh, wait, but you can't. You understand? There's children out in the audience.
No, there's not.
No, I guess there isn't. All right, look. When you buy a game, look at this. So you see the planking. This obviously was sitting in some kind of water, but I looked
Either a
in here.
humid basement. Somebody painted the transformer. It looks like they started to work on it. Maybe some new screws.
And new bolts. Unless that's a whole different transformer. I think Stephen can make. Actually, we had to order. We had to order new art. Now, Stephen,
Smart.
if you look here at the head, see, what are you going to do to fix it?
Call out sick that week.
Actually, let me show you
Gonna be a
another.
lot of Bondo on this game.
Also, another thing too is the rust under here.
Well, we took the rails off. This. Now, you have eyes. If you're buying a game and it has this, you know you're going to have issues.
Especially under here. And the mechanisms are all rusty. Surprisingly, we have rust in the plunger itself.
So
rust.
what we'll have to do.
Want to give you my 2 weeks notice?
They have to give it to Paulie, the head of
I
HR.
promised he'd get it by Thanksgiving.
Thanksgiving 2022, maybe.
Now here are the bolts that came out of the coin door. Okay, so you got to price it accordingly.
Or just
$10 million.
just stay away from a game like this if you
Well,
don't want a project on your hands.
that's right. This would be a beaters. So somebody could buy this, but the customer really wants this game. He already bought the subwoofer. I'm wondering if he bought that. What else do you see? Oh,
It's been painted.
Everything
look here.
is
It's
completely
been
rusted.
Is the plastic even rusted too?
I didn't even look at the boards, Frank. Did you look at the boards?
No. What boards?
Now he did send us stuff to put in it. He sent us rubbers. What's in this? Oh, this is a lighting.
Well, that'll fix it.
Oh, that's for the subwoofer. By the way,
Won't those rubbers fix it?
Well, it's got a rotten right through it.
well,
Everything else is rotten.
well, it could be
That's
that the
gotta
board
go.
was ruined.
That's going to be replaced. He's going to have to put a new one in. Yeah, this was replaced.
Oh,
This
look
might,
at that.
these might be salvageable, but that's got to go.
Every screw is rusted.
I'm sure as I'm not working on this game.
You can't use those words. That you're upsetting. Look at the guy in the front row. He's really pissed.
The guy with
off.
the red shirt or the blue shirt?
No, the green shirt.
This is what we call a polished turd.
Well, I wonder what it'll look like when Steven finishes it.
Funny.
Do you see what we put up with? Well, okay.
What he puts
all right,
up with.
all right. Let them take
He just
over.
runs and hides in the office.
We're done. We're done.
Finally.
You are done.
The Pinball, that ferocious machine, it's actually coming along. It won't be ready for Thanksgiving. We've encountered more trouble with it, with the transporter. Oh my God, what a mess! And but we're going to try. You have a Star Trek? A transporter. Well, he was working on it when I left. We have a lot of projects, and who knows? I may need it. I think we can buy the motor though.
So we're not sure what's going on with the transporter. It's a great game when it works. But anyway, we wanted to dip down, and since a lot of you guys have video games in your houses and your collections, we thought maybe we should show you some ideas, give you some ideas about video games, which have the same problems. Rodent infestation, water, mold. There's actually only 4 major components in any video game. All of you know them: the logic board, the monitor, the power supply, and the controls. And then if that's the components in it, and then you have the cabinet itself. If you're making one game out of 2, you pick the best cabinet and transfer stuff. We do it all the time, especially in games like Defender, the Williams games where the bottoms all rotted out because they were in luncheonettes and they were slopping the mop up to the machine every night. And before you know it, the thing's off the casters and now it's sitting on the wood and the wood gets all crapped up. Sometimes you can't bring them all back to life. You just can't. Video games are more prone to hack work. A lot of them are converted. Oh gosh, how many of you have stumbled across a rare game like a Liberator, an Atari Liberator, and somebody put a trivia whiz in it? Oh God. And you want to convert it back. If you're lucky, somebody left the harness in there for the old game. But many missed Pac-Mans. I mean, they made thousands of them, but a lot of them got converted to Capcom, or I call it Crapcom Bowling, Trivia Whiz, other games, Arkanoid, which is a pretty good game if the conversion's done right. A man sent us, this is really, really nice, because the other man sitting right here, this is Steve. A man sent us his favorite game on planet Earth. He paid $1,000 for this 4-player Atari Football. And I'd like to show you, because this is Tim and Tom involved in this. Here we go. See? So this is actually puffed out. Look. It's swollen out. Look. So the wood has expanded out this way. And the bottom is literally not really there. It has a key! Yes! So it was obvious it was outside its whole life, or at least the last, like the time. The other way, young man.
There we go.
There we go.
Gentle on that door because it's about to fall off.
Okay, so you can see now. Look at the color.
The water damage.
Right. So the transformer is a rust bucket. So the board's intact. We turn the game on, and we actually get somewhat of a picture. The monitor is there, but the transfer. This is a black and white monitor. I just don't know what to tell you because the cabinet is so poor, and we're dealing with something like this in this shape. What could be done with something like that? What? The cabinet was beyond hope.
Throw it off the roof, maybe?
Yes, that was a good contender. That's right. Actually, this is Steve in the front. He lives about 40 minutes from TNT. He came over one day, and he happened to see it. And he said, "What are you doing with the football?" I said, "This guy wants me to rebuild it. I can't touch this." And Steven said, "I can make you a new cabinet." Yeah, sure you can. Yeah, sure you can. And do you know, the top of the game, by the way, the whole Formica top was perfect. We lifted the top off, we took everything out of it, and Stephen took the cabinet to his house, and he actually made, including artwork, an absolutely carbon copy of that machine that looked like Atari made it, right down to those little side rails that this logic board slides into. It was perfect. The coin bucket, to hold the coin, the box, it was perfect. It was the most incredible transformation, and we put that top that you saw on top of it. And we've changed the monitor. We got another black and white monitor out of another game. We got the logic board repaired. The power supply was rebuilt, but the harness still has plagued us to this day. So I ordered a harness. I sent the old harness to a man on Facebook. He calls himself Arcade Harnesses Travis. He's made Battle Zone bellows,
He makes Atari parts, all kinds of stuff. And he's building us a custom 4-player Atari cockpit or cocktail harness for Steven's game. I call it Steven's game because he did such a beautiful job. And I don't have a clip because we wanted to wait until it was done, because I plan on combining that footage with the finished product to show you the transformation and bringing back another 4-player Atari. So we got a game, it's almost ready, but we'll never take a project like that on again. I'm done with waterlogged stuff. The only reason I bought that KISS, I actually sold the KISS, the one you just saw, but the only reason I bought it was to use for the seminar, believe it or not, because we wanted to have all of you avoid this kind of crap. We had a flood at TNT, the area. We were not flooded, but a tornado passed through and knocked down a lot of trees, a lot of flood happened, and the Schuylkill River, which runs through Philadelphia, overflowed its banks, and we got a phone call from a company that had a game room for their employees. Sadly, it was in the lower level, and he said, we have a lot of games, and we want to sell them, we want to get rid of them. Can you want to come out and see what you'd like to pay for them? And I drove out and filmed. I had actually, believe it or not, I had decided I probably wasn't going to buy anything, but I said, boy, I could use it for the seminar. So we came up with this video for more stuff that you could avoid. There's two pinballs, and I'm going to say 12 or 14 video games. And that is this clip here. Set it up to pick it up Tuesday a week after he accepted the $1,000 offer. On Tuesday, my truck was not coming back anytime soon. I called him and said, we're going to do it Wednesday morning instead. Now, Wednesday morning, 3 of my guys, 2 guys in our big truck, and my one guy that was going to take all the boards and parts out, headed out to this place. And he calls me on the phone and he says, we kept the 2 pinballs and the turbo, but we threw everything else in the dumpster. I said, what? Well, we only have the dumpster here one day. So I told him, well, I'm not going to pay $1,000, but the guys were on their way anyway, so we went there, and we got the Medusa, the mechanical, I don't remember the name of it. Groovy. Did the glass show, or did you just recognize the playfield? Okay. And the turbo. I bought the turbo mini so I could test turbo boards. I was sort of hoping I could plug turbo boards in it and test it. Kurt jumped into the dumpster and rescued the circuit boards out of several of the games. Any of the boards that were in the machine sideways, there was a Miss Pac-Man and a Junior Pac-Man, for instance, were okay. After the water came off, they moved the games up out of the water area and they put it in that warehouse where they dried. Believe it or not, the Junior Pac-Man and Pac-Man board worked. And I actually already sold them and shipped them. The
he couldn't get to any of the others. He got a control panel. Any of the boards that were flat were beyond repair. So he couldn't get a whole lot out of the dumpster. He wasn't too happy about digging any deeper, which was fine. I told him to leave him. But a hazmat suit. Well, actually, we would need it. We may actually need the hazmat because, wait a minute, let me just see. Because the next clip is actually the advertisement for the Pintastic show. So this is two Mystics. One is a prototype that I just took back in trade. We had restored this 2 years ago, and the guy traded it in. And the Mystic that you just saw. And the most amazing thing about the Mystic you just saw is this. Hey guys, it's Pintastic, and we're going to be there for a special seminar on how to avoid buying a lemon.
No, piece of
Wait, Frank, you can't say that. But look, nice game, not nice game.
We don't want you to buy this. And believe me, we've had people buy these and bring them to fix. No,
Listen,
the
we're going to
plastics,
have
that's
fun.
it.
7 o'clock Friday, and we can go as long as we want. So if you
I
have
was thinking-
questions, we're going to have some fun videos, all
Well,
kinds
I'm
of
going to
stuff.
cut it off at 2 a.m. So, but if you want to stay late, make sure you bring plenty of pizza and coffee.
Feed us, and we'll keep on going.
He eats a lot, so if you got a lot of limit on your credit card.
See ya at Pintastic. Channel, of course, you saw that. I couldn't believe the thing powered up. None of the mechanisms, it wouldn't kick any balls out because every single mechanism was a rust bucket, solid and rust. We have a live video where we open the game up on our channel. I'm sure a lot of you watched our shows, our videos. We have almost 1,800 videos up now. And it was interesting to see that machine actually fired up. We ended up, it had an all-tech board in it. It had, the water came up to the bottom of the head. We took all the boards out, we took all the displays. They're now going to be going into other games. As a matter of fact, the soundboard went into a Silver Ball. We reburned a Silver Ball ROM. So we have that Mystic available. If somebody needs a Bally head, it's in great shape. The body isn't so much. It's black mold. Black mold. It's pretty bad. I was thinking of making a wall decoration, wall art, and I was going to assign John
It'll
to
blend
put
in
the
with all the
Christmas
mold
lights
in the
behind
showroom.
Thanks.
Maybe it would make a great home for TNT's newest edition, Everett Mousy.
Everett, yes. We have a what would you call it? We have a troll on the channel.
Mascot.
Hoops! Yes, Hoops. Oh my gosh, that's a story in its own. It is a story. We're not ready for that clip, but I do have Hoops coming. What about the odd things that you find inside, the mods? Here's a Stern Striker Extreme. Yes, Striker Extreme. Can you run the next clip? I gotta show you how this guy thought he'd fix it. I just thought this was the cutest thing. Look what this idiot has done. I just can't believe somebody could be this stupid. He's actually, to get it to fit, he actually had to cut the fixture. He went to Home Depot and bought this, and he actually went out of his way to purchase this 40-watt bulb. Isn't that clever? And rather than fix the fluorescent light, I mean, what could be wrong, for goodness sakes? The ballast, the starter, the bulb, what the heck could be wrong? But no, he just went out and put this stupid light bulb up here. He must have thought he was the greatest vendor on planet Earth. And just to show you, isn't this clever? Let's not put the right drop targets here. Let's just put in, see, the right drop target's on the far right, the wide one. But could he be bothered to put the right drop targets in? No, he put skinny ones in and then stuck the old stickers in front of it. Yes, that was a vendor. It was actually vending. And it doesn't make any money anymore. I said, yeah, I guess not. Broken targets, the ball gets stuck. Oh, doesn't make any money. It doesn't. It won't. It won't. But you guys can fix all that because everybody can buy the targets. But see, when you were a vendor, you had to look what was in your toolbox. How many of you have purchased a pinball machine and have discovered that the knocker coil is missing? The mechanism's there, but the coil isn't. How many? Well, yeah, there's a few people, yeah. Because they use the coil to fix the pop bumper. Ah, there we go. Oh, fix this. Who needs a knocker? You know, and they had to fix it. Didn't have a coil with them, whatever. You can't go out to a service call and come out with 5 screwdrivers and some nut drivers and a few fuses. You got to bring parts with you. Nothing was going to save these games. I sold 3 machines to a store, a little corner store. A Hoops by Gottlieb, one of the great games of all time. A Data East Batman, and a Road Kings. But the phone call came in that was very odd because I finally researched where they came from. Man called me and he said he had 3 games in his warehouse and they're going to renovate the warehouse, the basement. I only have a still from it, but I didn't do it because, see, originally I thought we were going to run out of time, so I didn't. I have a video online showing the whole pickup. He said he had a Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, he's like, hurry up.
He had a pole
You
position.
gotta get here. We gotta get down there.
Yes.
We're gonna miss a deal. It's a Lord of the Rings.
I have to get down there. We jumped in the truck and we filmed the live video going down.
Yeah, me, you, and Walt smashing it.
And we drove as fast as we could because he wanted to sound cheap. So I'm thinking, Lord of the Rings. Wow. He says, I don't think he said there was really anything wrong. He said they were in a warehouse and they had to get him out. Well, the warehouse ended up having dirt floors. Now, who has a Philly warehouse with dirt floors? And it wasn't Lord of the Rings. It was Road Kings. and if I may quote him, Lord of the Rings, Road Kings, same thing almost. Still a game.
There was also a pole position, too.
A pole position. There was a pole position, too, and the Data East Batman. The problem is, one game had broken in half. Literally broken in half. If you could start this is just a still. We have a full video available, and I knew we wouldn't have enough time for everything, but you can see in the picture, if you freeze it for a second, the top is the Road Kings that literally broke in half. The hoops was in pieces. The playfield broke in half. It was amazing. The Batman back glass, he said, well, at least the back glass looks nice. And it was fully intact. But when we got the back glass back to TNT Amusements, the next day, all the paint fell off. And there was a mirrored finish. And Peter bought it.
Peter bought it. You sold it. You sold it
On my best offer sale. But what was unique about it, it was actually really beautiful because if you put it up on the wall, you could still see the mirror that stayed on it. And Peter loved it, didn't he? That's why he's not here tonight, is he?
He charged you back on it.
But you got to watch this video because they stored it we sold them to them in 2010, and we picked them up. It was about 3 years ago, right?
Yeah, true.
Because it's about when you started, about 2 years ago. Tom, you weren't with us, right?
No, I told you it was me.
It was just us 3.
It was me,
So we
you,
took back the pieces. Now, Timmy
Yeah.
has on his Facebook page a
I don't know where the hell
a video. Is it still on your Facebook
Yeah, it
page?
should be.
Okay, you need to go on Facebook and friend Timothy Roth.
Yes.
He's on Facebook, and you have to go on their channel at the Twins Arcade and subscribe.
But that's not on Twins Arcade. That was just.
Right, that was a video. We filmed him taking parts off the playfield. We sold the ramps.
We sold everything on
We
there,
sold a
except
lot
for
of
the
stuff on it, but the playfield was completely rotted through. It was really sad. And we don't like to see that happen. And we don't want you to buy anything like that because you won't be happy. Timmy and Tommy have been involved with me for 3 years now. Timmy watched one of our bargain basement videos. I don't know if a lot of you have seen them, where we unload garbage. We have great deals
It's true.
on
Garbage.
good stuff.
You were right the first time. Garbage.
And they bought a Time Killers
Yeah, time killer.
for $500. And that was his first dealings with me.
It sat there for
And it sat there for months before they came pick them up. But then they started coming regularly. Well, at one of my early best offer sales, we run these sales now about every month. We're up to best offer sale 45, if you can believe, 45 of these sales where we sit there and unload stuff, good stuff, only the best. And I have this clip of Timmy and Tommy that was, it was a riot. And I said, you know what, we got to use this clip. You haven't seen it for ages either. Now, if you can run the next clip, you get an idea. Maybe you want to attend our next bargain basement sale, which in fact...
It won't be this good.
Well, of course you'll be there. You have to be there. Yeah. So this clip we're going to see is a piece from that bargain basement video, and this will show you why Timmy and Tommy were professional wrestlers for 2 years, right?
3 years.
3 years. Back when they were younger and a little thinner. Now, according to this, were we doing Tommy next? Tommy Pilar?
Yep.
I know. What were we doing? What?
Tommy.
Oh, you changed it? We have a change. We have a bidding change. What's this?
People are bidding on the Tommy thing right now.
Roller disco. Why is a beautiful roller disco covered by these horrific? No, wait a minute. That's mine. That's mine. You put my poster. You can't. Ow! My poster. I paid a lot of money for that. Oh, they're so lovely. It's a work of art. They're beautiful. They're gorgeous. They're the most beautiful hookers I've ever seen. Because the next time they did that was with this clip here, which surprised me too. And this was live, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was live.
This was a live footage that
It's
I
always
took.
fun to get Todded live.
We have unnumbered live videos, folks. You go on our channel and you click on the live part. We have a whole bunch of videos up that have no numbers assigned to them. But they're still a lot of fun. So we'll run this clip real quick. This is a short one.
Yeah, what do you think? What do you think? You know, it's limited. There's only 50 of them ever made.
Is this an LE?
Yes.
Yes, we made sure brought this in.
Trade it for the Radical.
Yeah, they got the Radical.
Yeah,
this is
that's my trade in.
It's loading.
Player.
Left button.
I did. Select level.
Where do you
put
the
quarters?
All the way to the left. That's right, left.
Yeah, I did.
It's loading.
And then you just do nothing.
Here we go.
It's a maximum soundtrack.
You couldn't even sell this and get French fries at Applebee's. Hey, Phil. Phil says hello. Mikey
up,
wants to
Phil?
know is Wallace ever coming back? No, I think Wallace is retired.
Yeah.
I think it's slightly off level.
Get the ball in.
But it's got sweet LEDs.
Usually you put it in
It's it's worth another $100 just for the LEDs.
Todd's gonna put his Light-O-Matic buttons on it.
This is better than Godzilla.
Better than Led Zeppelin and Beatles, that's for sure.
Anyway, I'm bored. Are we
All
done?
right. Yes, yes.
This needs to be destroyed.
Okay, yes, we already thought about that. Go ahead. Go ahead, step back.
Okay, that's it.
Yeah, we're gonna destroy it, all right. You were shushed. Go ahead. We're gonna destroy it. Go ahead.
No, wait a minute. What are you doing? Oh! My solder station. My
done now.
pinball.
Thanks, Tony. Tony Clarkson is 25
Oh,
bucks.
my pin table.
That was the good That one. explains why it was on that mat. That was a good one. There's a mat of concrete. You think that's soft? Go ahead and take a bump on it.
Oh, God. You ruined it.
That's the good one. I honestly was afraid you weren't going to get up after that. I'm like, oh.
Are you still gonna accept the trade in?
Now, don't try that at home. They understand how to do the moves so they don't get hurt. I thought he did.
What about when Robbie smashed you in the head with the bottle?
Oh.
You're talking about getting hit with the glass. You had that
Somebody
stunt
sent
bottle.
us a fake bottle. and it was designed to smash. You can buy them on Amazon. I think he paid $15. One of our fans, and we get a lot of stuff in the mail. And he sent us a fake bottle. I forgot all about that.
Yeah, you were a little bit surprised with that.
Yeah, it hurt a little. I mean, it did explode and went all over the place, but that was pretty shocking what you can buy. We did have fun with that, though. The boys surprised me. They came up with that whole routine and surprises and made a live. Once again, the live videos, we're actually getting more views for them than our regular edited ones, which is kind of interesting. Now, of course, this all leads to green screening. Everybody says they love it when I do green screening, and a lot of people say they hate it. But I decided I'd run you one of my favorite green screens on Big Bang Bar. Okay, a lot of you have not seen it. And I decided to delve into an old Jane Fonda movie called Barbarella, because Barbarella fits Big Bang Bar amazingly well. And I decided to green screen myself. I did 3 or 4 scenes, but I'm only going to run you one. But I thought I did a pretty good job of this, putting this into the film. Here we go.
Barbarella.
Wait for me! What do you want of me? Oh.
Hello, pretty.
I had to drop right, and oh gosh, what a mess to put that up. But it was fun. But watch the Big Bang Bar video. We go into details and gameplay. Really rare game. You rarely see it anywhere. It's just not around. By the way, I meant to mention something. The best offer sales I set up that you saw were all the brainchild of Jillian right there. And it's her birthday. Wednesday was her birthday. And she, at no charge, set my whole auction thing up. She did everything. She planned it. She executed it. She got it to work and worked all the little bugs out. And the auction website works great. She did a wonderful job. And I've sent her some things here and there. But what makes today special is because Jillian owns a Williams roller games. She loves it. And her roller games has suffered a sad fate. It has a broken main ramp. The ramp at the top, it's huge. It's curly cues and all kinds of crap. And years ago, I was offered a package deal on dozens and dozens and dozens and dozens of brand new Williams and Data East ramps. Tons of them. Most of them I sold to Marco Specialties. And they've sold most of them. I had 25 Batman main ramps, 25 of them. I'm never going to use them. I kept 2 and I sold them the rest. We did a barter. So I sent them 4 or 5 pallets of ramps because I would never use them. I threw out all the metal ramps. I threw them in the dumpster because when do you need a Laser Wars metal ramp? When will you ever need a metal ramp? Because they never go bad. And if they do, you can usually spot weld them. But I kept 1 ramp. And for Jillian, for her birthday, I have a brand new giant, and I mean giant, fully populated with all the bells and whistles. It has the labels, the switches, the flash lamps. This is how Williams used to sell them. And
Now, does this come with Frank's installation?
Frank will drive out himself when he's sober, when he's able to, and install Jillian your own ramp. And I'm going to give you this box to take it home. I told him to wrap it up, but not this well. God, I'm trying to open this up. I should have opened it up in the hotel room. But I wanted to surprise her. But this is what they used to sell. I had 2. Marco Specialties I charged him $350 for this ramp, Marco, about 8 years ago. Isn't that something? Everything, including the coil, so it moves in and out. All the flash lamps, the works. It even still has the sticker on the side, the part sticker. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
All for my Jillian. Jillian is, I've told her this too, but she's the smartest woman I've ever met. And I swear to God, she's amazing. Thank you very much for all your help you've given me all these years. So, yes, and she does have the program for sale. If any of you want to do sales, she can sell you the program and then stand behind it. So if you want to do best offer sales yourself, you're certainly welcome to contact Jillian.
Money selling used books.
That's it.
Yeah. I built this prototype for Todd at the beginning of the pandemic when TNT was shut down, and my business was failing. I had a restaurant which closed. And I understand what business overhead is. And he was, Todd, being the person that he is, the businessman he is, he was trying to make sure that his employees kept their health insurance. And some trolls in his chat room were making it so that people couldn't bid if you couldn't make money off it. And I decided to just use some of my software skills to piss off the trolls.
They did. We were on Facebook and we had some problems and things. And so Jillian kind of brought us back from the dead and kept us in business. And so did Mike Dodona, who has helped me out immeasurably. I appreciate that, sir, Mike. And by the way, Mike is the man. Jersey Jack and Stern Pins. Call him on the phone. He actually answers the phone himself. Extension 16. Well, I'm not going to give his cell phone number out.
If you call up Mike and need something, he'll give you the cell phone. It works 24 hours a day.
Oh, I'll get the whole phone. I'll get all the calls. So Mike will take care of you. He has a big booth in there. He's got some games. He does have games here he'll sell. A lot of the games you're playing in there he can't sell. But, yes. Oh, he's got Wizard of Oz signed playfields. Jack himself and the new owner signed them. The owner signed the Jersey Jack playfields. It's your signature, Jack, and who else? The Wizard of Oz playfields.
On Mike's table.
Well, it's your signature for sure. Anyway, somebody else. Could have been. Okay. I didn't recognize the signature. I'll sign the playfields. What? Greg Ferris, you think it was? I'm not sure. And that's something. Kevin O'Connor is out there signing pictures, and he had me make a video because his granddaughter, his 5-year-old granddaughter, is a big fan of mine. So I made a custom video talking to her about, she's fascinated with pinball. So we made a nice little video with him. So it's kind of interesting, all the people you run into here. You know, John Borg is here. Yes?
Make the joke about you can sit on Jack's face and buy his stool.
Ah, Jack has his stool here for sale. And we have a special sale price on them. How much are they? Jack's stool. You can own Jack's stool. It has a cushion on it, don't worry. But in Mike Dodona's spot, there's only 15 left now, and that's it. They're not going to make any more.
You can sit right on his face.
Yes.
For the rest of your life.
The twins set up the automated booth. They got all that stuff set up, and as you heard earlier, they've not been asleep for over 48 hours.
And still
they're
going.
Still functioning.
It was really hard not to fall asleep.
You got to stay
during
awake
this.
a little bit longer. I got to run you. We just overhauled a Stern Stars for somebody, and he already picked it up. But we had this. It was just so outrageous. A flipper repair that Kurt and I found. I have to run you this next short clip. Could you start the next one, please? Okay. Curtis started working on the flippers on the Stars, and we wanted to point you out this wonderful repair. Now, this is probably what happened. He was in his house and the wire broke, so he found the only available wire he could find, and it is the 300 ohm antenna wire. And he obviously cut it off the family antenna on his television set. Oh, fix this! Is what he said.
And then later at night, channel 6 doesn't work. Channel 10 doesn't work. What's going on?
Oh, but it fixed the flipper. Curtis, please.
I love it.
Showed that video in chat, premiered the other day, but I had a Panthera that came in.
Panatera.
That came into my house where someone had done the Gottlieb ground mods using coax cable.
Coaxial cable. I like it. Nice and stiff.
All over the machine.
Wow. You know, you do find a lot of crazy stuff. I know you don't want to stay too much longer. We're actually...
Shielded ground wires?
Yeah.
You know, the outer shield and everything, they used the center conductor.
The center conductor.
Soldered the center conductor everywhere, and it folded it back, and it was just splayed out all the...
And he fixed it, though. It worked.
You know, that's the puzzle, yeah.
It works.
Center wire is ground, what's the shield? It's obviously it was just an idiot who didn't have the other wire, but why would you run the ground mod? I mean, has anybody in here run a System 80 ground mod wire before? I know you don't believe it.
System 80 ground mods are absolutely crap, junk, waste of time, nonsense. Gottlieb issued a single bullet and everybody threw out. If you have a Gottlieb System 80, starting with Panatera, right? I call it that because this guy at this place I used to buy them from, it's Panthera, yes, I know, but he would call it Panatera, and it just drove me nuts, so I just picked up on it. It goes back 30 years, so it's now Panatera. But between the logic board and the driver board, Gottlieb had one single ground wire on the far right. There's a hole on the opposite side of the board, of the connector, to put a second one in, because it's ground on both sides. If you have two in it, it grips the board tight, because you got two grounds touching, gripping the pin. You will have no more ground problems. Oh, but no, everybody scrapes the green away from the logic board, and they run a ground from that to the driver board, and then they run it over to the SAM board. No, completely insane. No, I've sold 30,000 machines.
That board, if you get a replacement system board, that's the background shorts out.
It doesn't. No, I've sold plenty of I've sold more System 80s than everybody in the room combined.
You can jump out of an airplane with one parachute, but every time I've done it, I have a reserve.
I'm sorry, Todd needs more than one parachute.
Well, I'd need two parachutes. It won't.
Operation
One won't.
Dumbo
hold me.
drop.
So I did jump out of a plane. I have a video up of me skydiving just to prove I could do it.
The plane was going down with it.
What's the name of the crater?
Do you hear this? Do you hear this? Now, people always, I always get this question answered. Why all the Three Stooges? Humor and laughs. Because I always loved the Three Stooges. I think pretty much everybody in the room has seen at least 4 or 5 Three Stooges. And is that your phone or my? Oh.
It's Chatty Cathy here.
It's Chatty Cathy.
He's got a date later.
A date? On the phone?
Yes.
Oh, one of those dates. You want to go in the closet? Okay. So, anyway, of course there are Three Stooges sound effects. I took off the internet and lobbed them in, and I put the eye pokes and all that stuff in. I found a really odd clip, and I want to run it for you because I find it very humorous. Everybody said don't include it, but Columbia made 193 Stooges shorts. But most of you aren't aware that Columbia also made 100 more short subjects with the same producer, the same directors, and a lot of the same co-stars. The same 18-minute length shorts. They were called Columbia comedies. They had a comedy department in Columbia. But most of them never got caught on. But I found this one short. I sell 16mm films. That's my other hobby. And I ship them all over the world. I've actually sold films to Quentin Tarantino, Martin Scorsese, Steven Spielberg. Mel Blanc used to buy cartoons from me because he couldn't get them on film. You know, it's hard to find film. So I've done a lot. I'm still selling films. I still go to film shows. A lot of you have watched some of the videos that we do. So we're still running film. And so are all these big directors. They want film. They don't want digital. You all have digital because it's cheap. Films are not. Anyway, I had a short that came in, and it had one particularly odd sequence in it. This woman appears out of nowhere 3 different times in the short. It has no bearing to the story of the comedy. That's this next clip. So I put the 3 clips in, and you'll notice the sounds, the effects, and the direction is just like a Three Stooges. And since none of you will ever see this short, it's called Ain't Life Cuckoo, Ain't Love Cuckoo, made 1949. I assembled these 3 things because I said, you know what, this is a chance to show people something they've never seen. Go ahead.
Boy, oh boy, oh boy.
How dare you look like somebody I hate?
Now, wise guy, take that. You got enough?
How dare you look like somebody I hate?
Where's my room?
You haven't changed a bit.
So I loved it, and I said, you know what, I like it. When I read this synopsis, they said they had no rhyme or reason why that woman appeared, and apparently the 2 comedians that did these shorts, they made 10 of them for Columbia, and that was the only time they did something odd like that. That's what the information I dug up about this short. But does anybody have any questions? Because we don't want to get into the 9 o'clock, because I understand there's some kind of thing planned at 9. Did anybody have any questions about buying stuff, or, yes?
Can you come over to the microphone?
Oh, there's a microphone set up right over here, I forgot. They set up a macaroni phone right there for you to talk to.
Okay, I have 2 questions, hopefully useful. You talked about how people need to inspect these machines.
Yes.
I know in my area there had been a local distributor who used to distribute machines. Would it be a good idea for people thinking of buying a machine in an area to see if they can contact a distributor and see if they can go and make see if they'll make a house call for them for $40, $50 to take a quick peek at a machine that might be on the net? Is that something that would be worthwhile?
That's a great idea, but I don't think the distributor will go out for 40 or 50 bucks.
Well, whatever it is they charge. I mean, if they're paying $3,000 for a machine, if they pay even $150 for some guy to check it out,
Like a mechanic.
That's pretty good insurance.
That's an interesting idea. I guess something like that could happen. Mike, do you think that's going to happen with you? I already know the answer. It is a good idea, but most distributors... Uh-oh.
Jack's laughing his ass off.
Jack is having a stroke. Oh, my God. Jack is having a stroke. That's the second big laugh today, young man. At the party, he spit out the water.
No, Thomas,
earlier.
It was going to be like
joke.
Roger Rabbit. Remember in Roger Rabbit where they keep laughing until they pass away?
Yes. Jack, come to you. No, I guess Jack doesn't agree. I don't know. I guess we've been asked to come out to do estimates on flood damage, and the bottoms of all the games had 2 inches of water. I mean, you can't fix that. I mean, and they've asked us to do it, and how much is the Pac-Man worth? When the bottom dries out, it's okay. I guess it's hard to see if there's a local distributor. So that is something you could try. You could always call, you could call one of your friends, one of your new pinball friends. Somebody that owns pinball machines would be a better choice because you might be able to get them to come out and look for it and then, buy them lunch.
People set that up in a tin side sometimes. Is there anybody who lives in the area who can go look at a game?
Yes, pinside.com. Join it immediately.
So if you're going to collect games, join pinside.com right away. Absolutely recommended. Yes.
You might want to explain about auctions. Sometimes games to auctions because they can't fix them.
Okay, that's a good point. But what's your next question?
The second thing is you talked about regular maintenance on machines. You know, so many people buying from the home and needing regular maintenance. Have you thought about putting together a seminar saying, all right, if you're a pinball owner, come down to, we'll do this maybe 4 times a year, come down to New Jersey, we'll have a class. Here are the basic things you need to do, basic maintenance that you would need to do on a machine. Put out a couple of machines, say, all right, these are the machines, these are the things you want to do maybe once every 2 years or once every 5 years, and basically teach owners who might buy a machine and think, oh, I can just leave it sit there forever. These are the things you want to do, and have a class like that.
That may be a good topic for next year. We could do possibly as a seminar, but you're suggesting that a company like maybe mine or somebody could actually have a class and advertise a class of general service on a pinball machine.
Yeah, so for people so they can take care of their own, and if you have guys from like the various pinball sites who get some training, then they could take care of local areas in the same way.
That may work especially with all the pinball clubs. The pinball tournaments they're having now, there's a lot of people that play pinball every month. They get together every month. And they may just play, but some now own. So that is a good idea. I mean, maybe that'll spark some interest to advertise on Pinside about doing a seminar of some sort on basics. 2 years ago, we did a seminar on bringing a $6 Million Man. $6 Million Man back to life. And the video is on your channel, right? Derek, is the video on the channel? No, not my video.
The last seminar that Todd did. The $6 million man restoration video. Yeah, no, it's not on.
Okay. I actually have all the footage, and I've been meaning to put it together, along with about 25 hours of footage I never edited. We're just so busy now, we don't have time to put stuff together. But that seminar showed how a rebuild was done. But last year's Pinball Expo, Frank and I made a 1-hour video on how we restored a Cybernaut, a Bally Cybernaut, from beginning to end. Very detailed close-ups, some corny gags, but it's a lot of fun. So you could watch that to get a lot of basic information on restoring a pinball machine. So we go from top to bottom, how to take the flippers apart, that sort of thing. But thank you for the question. Did you have a question too, young man?
Hi, we saw a lot of good extreme examples of damage on tables. But do you have like a kicking the tires checklist for, say, a first-time buyer going to look out to kind of know what they're looking for? You know, if I'm a little mechanically inclined, but like what should I be really looking at to get a good idea of the table's condition?
You know, we were going to make a list, and we never did.
We'll have to work on something, yeah.
You know, that actually completely slipped through our mind, because Frank and I actually listed things to look for. Cabinet condition, number 1. The board condition, number 2. The condition of the playfield and the paint, and of course the cabinet paint too. Those can all influence the price.
Look at if you look at all the boards, all the serial numbers match. It just kind of indicates that it really hasn't been molested. That's why I said look inside the cabinet, look underneath, because if it's really nice and clean, it's probably had a really good life.
And the fuses and stuff.
But once again, that Adams family looked beautiful until we lifted the playfield up.
I'd suggest when you're going to go look at purchasing a game, take a few minutes, look online, see what parts are available for that game. Is there a lot of parts available?
Like the RAM.
Or is there very little available because you don't want to purchase it, want to get parts in the future and find out that they're no longer available?
But also to elaborate that, yeah, look at pictures of the game, get some ideas of what it's supposed to look like. And then when you're looking at it, look for wiring that doesn't look like it's supposed to be there, like a big red wire draped down the playfield because they have alligator clips to a light socket to put a mod on. It's just asking for trouble. Anything that doesn't look like it should be there should raise a red flag.
In the old days, we put on the left wall of the cabinet of a pinball machine, it was in a flood. We had a lot of flood games. We put a letter F in black magic marker, meaning flood. And that's how we knew if the game ever got traded in or we were looking at it, we'd look for the F. Now, I probably put an F on 40 or 50 games over the years. Now, those games might work fine. We had a brand new water world we sold to somebody, and we got I wish I kept the picture. The water was right up to Kevin Costner's eyes. It was unbelievable, but it was clean, pretty clean water. They took it outside, they opened the machine up, and they let the sun dry it. And we went over and we picked it up, the game worked. I put the letter F in it, clean as a whistle, it looked fine, and we took it to the auction and dumped it. Now back then we got $800 for it. But the Pittsburgh show, there are 200 and some games were all underwater, right up to the circuit boards, right up to the bottom. They did the same thing. They hosed all the machines off because that was muddy water, and all those machines went up into the home market. They washed all of them off, and they worked, and out they went. So the rust is the big telltale machine, the rust factor. That really is. It's a. Pardon?
Auctions. About buying games.
Oh, beware of auctions.
At the auctions, yes. Try to look inside the game at the auction before you bid on it. And the prices at the auction, like the banning auction, my gosh. Do you know I priced a tractor trailer will hold 45 pinball machines folded. I got a price of $8,300 to bring them from Banning, California to TNT Amusements from Precision Moving and Storage. I had to pay $125 to Captain's Auction to wrap each machine and wrap the legs to it. So I was set up to buy up to 45 machines. I ended up buying 0. I said, especially when Nightmare on Elm Street sells for $6,000, I'm not going to pay that. And nobody, but a lot of people did, though, didn't they?
I think what Tommy was also trying to say is that auctions are where people usually dump their junk, so that's where stay away from auctions. Unless you know what you're doing, stay away from
yes,
auctions.
auctions are buying from a home is better, but remember the homeowner may have gotten it from the auction. A good telltale sign is when they never scrape the auction sticker off the clear glass. That's a good sign, and we've seen a lot of them come in. I have one final clip to run, and it's the boys. We filmed this, I guess, over the last 2 nights. Oh, wait a minute. Is there one more question? Go ahead. I didn't see you hiding.
Hopefully quick. I'm small. If you have an older game that's picked up some basement smell, some must to it, do you know anything that can knock that down a little bit?
Yes.
What
Two
do you recommend?
things.
Febreze.
Febreze is wonderful. Febreze is wonderful. It's safe for clothes, but use it for games. But get a tray borrow a cookie sheet, not a cookie sheet, a tray from your wife.
Yeah.
And put 2 boxes of baking soda in it. Slide it in the machine and close the coin door. Okay. And wait 2 weeks. And you won't believe the difference. Now, I suggest you stir the baking soda maybe halfway through. The baking soda is amazing. It just sucks up that, and then Febreze helps. And sooner or later, the smell will be gone. Piss is a different thing.
Not my
That's why
issue,
I
thankfully.
purposely don't pee in any of my games anymore.
Because the game we talked about earlier, Todd had me, we Febrezed it for about a week and then just let it dry out. It took about maybe 3 to 4 months before you can't smell piss anymore.
Yeah. Febreze will work with piss, but, there's also something called urine extractor. It actually says that on the bottle. And you can get that and squirt that in, too. It actually doesn't smell that bad. But I use it for my underarms, too. But that's another thing you could buy, but it's sold in it's not on the shelf at Kmart. You'd have to kind of get to a cleaning supply place.
Jillian asked what letter goes on the piss-filled machines.
Just so I know.
Piss-filled? I actually threw them off the roof. I did video back in 2004, and we threw some piss and fire damaged equipment off the roof. It looked fine in the video, but the games were junk. And they exploded, too, and that was the end of them. But we can't sell a piss-encrusted Last Action Hero. The cats literally made a home on top of the play field because the glass had broken years ago, and the guy just left the game in the basement, and it stunk.
Oh,
That was awful.
Toddy, you should tell that story about the guy that had you working on it was you and Kurt down in the basement, and
we had a good customer. I'll tell this last story, but
yeah, it's a good one.
It's amazing. We had a very good customer that had a lot of money, but he lived in a small house with his wife, and they had a big, giant dog. And he bought the newest games we had and traded in the games he got a year before. And we would give him pretty good trade-in. When we ever did a trade-in, though, we had to fix the bottoms of the legs, even if the game was brand new, because his lovely dog peed in the basement where they played pinball. And the piss, I went over to do the move. He was trading in a Pinbot, and he was getting a Last Action Hero. No, he's getting a Lethal Weapon. It doesn't matter. But we were picking up the one game and trading the other. And I was crying. The tears were rolling down. The piss smell was so heavy. And to get the game out the door, we had to take the head off the Pinbot because that's a little wider than the Lethal Weapon. And I had to move this big 50-pound bag of dog food. When I tried to move it, the bottom broke out because it was stuck to the floor with the piss. The tiles in the basement were all loose. And if you stepped on the tile, the pee would spread out. So anyway, we finished the job, and I'm doing this. Oh, my God, I couldn't see. And he pays us, and he comes down the steps in his socks. I swear to God, in his socks.
Curdy said he had to throw his shoes away.
Well, we did. We came in two separate vans because I was coming from one job and another. And we got in the car, we rolled down the windows, and we threw our shoes out because it just soaks into the sneakers. We drove home in socks. That was an experience. Boy, oh boy, that's what happens when you deliver games. We heard stories similar to that last night with Jack. Jack was telling us some of his delivery fun. He used to deliver games. He used to deliver the games himself in the good old days, right, Jack? We leave it to the younger kids now, don't we? Isn't that a bad story? It's disgusting.
Was the guy's last name Siegel?
No, I don't think. No, it wasn't Siegel. Okay,
have that experience too?
Then you have a piss story too.
Every conversation leads to that, doesn't it?
It does.
Todd loves a good golden shower.
See, my twins are very coarse and gruff, but they're very strong, and they'll do anything in the world for you. And so will Johnny. And so will Frank. But I pay Frank.
The sweetest
So he
fanboy
better.
ever.
He better. So we'll end our show tonight with this last clip. Our guys at the shop wanted to say goodbye.
Well, Kurt,
Yes.
the seminar is about over.
It is?
Did you enjoy it?
No.
Didn't you have fun making all the clips?
What are you talking about?
Well,
I'm so confused.
Well, the boys aren't confused. Let's see what the boys have to say. Well, boys, this is the end of the seminar. Don't you have anything to say to all your fans?
Kurt!
Hi.
That's it?
It's early in the morning.
Chris? Anything?
Nope.
Jonathan, anything?
Nope.
You know, this is the only time you'll see a Star Wars comic pin. This is the standard artwork, Star Wars, and a brand new Star Wars Premium, possibly the last one on the planet, that still has the blue sticky stuff on it. The only time you'll see my face in so many places.
Poor people.
Those posters are for sale, folks.
For
Do you think you'll buy my poster? Jonathan.
You get a piece of junk right there.
Careful. Careful.
Fire starters.
Look at the screen.
That's a telescreen. Wait a minute, there's got to be more people.
Buy one of
here.
those posters.
Wait a
I don't have any
minute.
other
Listen, Stephen, can you touch these up?
For what? They're perfect.
I know. I'm just...
Perfect.
I'm just having some fun. Can't I have a little fun in my dump here?
Nope.
Aren't we missing some people?
You don't have anybody else. You probably ate their cheesecake too. They won't come in.
He's upset because I had one slice of cheesecake.
It wasn't yours.
It
And
was-
a bottle of water.
It's in my. See this? This
fridge.
is my refrigerator. Everything in this refrigerator is mine. Everything in there is mine.
By all the work of us.
Everything.
That's how you afford it.
Everything in that is mine.
Nonsense.
Everything.
What about the bottle of water? You're going to be living in it. You keep your. What about the bottle of water?
Do you see the rudeness? Good night. Now get out!